guys, it's your girl Julia Steele coming at you with a very special video. Kind of a little different than what I normally do, but I've been getting so many requests to kind of tell people about what Patreon is, how they can use it, what are some tips, so I thought it would be really fun to make a video about it for anyone who is interested in maybe going down that route in the future. So what is Patreon? Patreon is a crowdfunding site for artists, creators. So me, I'm a creator because I create YouTube videos and I create modeling photos. So that is what I do. And the people who support me on Patreon, who are called patrons, they like that and they want me to continue doing that. So that's why they pledge either a certain amount a month, or they pledge once, or what have you, monthly, so that you can kind of grow what you already are doing. So it's really fun, interactive, it's amazing having all these people being able to reach out to you in this way. It's just a really, really wonderful tool for people like me who create free content. And I know quite a bit about it at this point. I've been on it for 2 years. This is my 3rd year starting on Patreon, and I just absolutely love it. The people are amazing on it. I've met so many wonderful fans who've become friends this way, and it's just, I highly recommend it. There's stuff like GoFundMe, and you know, those kind of sites, they're not really interactive. If it's something with a fan-creator relationship, it doesn't nurture that at all. The way that Patreon does. So I highly recommend Patreon if you make YouTube videos, if you're a photographer, if you're any kind of artist basically, if you're creating something. So I've kind of divided this video into 5 questions that I seem to get asked a lot, and then I will explain the answer to those. So the very first question is, should I start a Patreon? And at this point you should really be looking at your social media presence. Do you have a big fan base? Do you get a lot of likes? Do you have a lot of likes on your Facebook page, on your Instagram page? Do you get a lot of shares? Do you get a lot of messages? Do you have lots of people who are keeping an eye on you and what you produce as a creator? I'd like to say about 10,000 people all around. If you have subscribers on YouTube, if you have likes on Facebook, if you have follows on Instagram, etc., if you combine all those, do they amount to about 10,000, or are they a lot less? Are they a lot more? So check that out first. I think when I started my Patreon, I was about 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then I had about 13,000 follows on my Facebook page. So I had kind of a big little fan base to work with already, and I think that was part of my reason of being successful on Patreon, was because I had that good strong base to go off of. And once you figure that out, do you have people who are always asking to get involved? Are people asking you to review their products? Are they sending you things? That sense of wanting to be a part of what you do is a big indicator that a Patreon might be really good for you. So check your social media content. Are your followers very active and very supportive of you? You might want to check out making a Patreon. If not, then work on your social media presence first, and then come back to Patreon and seeing if it's right for you. And then, do you create a lot of content? Patreon is kind of based on people who create free content. For example, I make YouTube videos. You don't have to pay for those. Those are free. Anyone can see them. You don't have to pay for any of that. So I'm going to keep creating those. No matter if I have a Patreon or not, that is always going to happen. So do you already create a lot of content? Do you post a lot? Etc. Then Patreon might be right for you. The second question I get asked, is it a lot of work? And basically it's as much work as you want or don't want to put into it. I have some people that I follow on Patreon who don't post hardly at all. I have some who post multiple times a day. And really it's just what you can afford to do with your time. When I first started, I really hardly posted anything on there. For one thing, I worked full-time, and I just didn't really have the time to really do a whole lot with it. Like I said, you should still be making free content anyway. This is your passion. This is what you do for fun. You're still going to be doing it anyway. There's no need to knock yourself out trying to create even more content so that you can put on Patreon. I didn't, and it was fine because I kept working at it, and now it just kind of flows by itself. I put 2 photo shoots up there a month. I put videos up there because I have that much more time thanks to Patreon that I can start doing that. So just keep at it, basically. You don't have to knock yourself out. It's not going to kill you, but it's definitely something to look into. Third question, where do I start? Well, what I did was I checked out other creators who did what I do. I looked at models, I looked at YouTubers, and all female, because females and males, they vibe with their fans in different ways. So you have to keep that in mind too. Don't do what I do. Even if you're a YouTuber and you're a model, if you're a male, you might not do the same things that I'm going to be doing on Patreon. So keep that in mind. So I found a select few people to look at, and I looked at their bio, I looked at what they said about why they wanted to be on Patreon, and it really helped me inspire my creativity with writing my bio out, writing my rewards out, writing just kind of everything, and making my Patreon page kind of like my place, my little fan club, so that people could look at it and say right away, like, oh, I know why I want to support her. She's saying it right there. So check on that first with other people who do exactly or kind of what you do. In your profile, you can rewrite it, you can redo it. It's very self-explanatory and easy to use. It cuts it up into very easy sections that you can figure out what exactly you want to say. You can take a step back and look at it, and then before you even go live, you can turn it into exactly what you want to present to your fan base. Fourth question, and this is a big one that people really seem to stress over, and you really don't need to at all, is what rewards should I offer? With Patreon, you can provide different tiers of payments, and you can offer a reward at each tier if you wish to do that. That's what I did. Basically, what I offer prints, I offer digital content, physical items sometimes, giveaways every once in a while. Like, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with it, so you can really tailor it to what you want to give out. And you don't even have to give any rewards. There's so many people on Patreon who don't even give really anything. It's just kind of, you know, a way for fans to help a creator out. So don't stress about that. You can definitely, when you're first starting, keep it simple. Keep it very simple. I see so many girls, especially models, who go on there and they're just like, for $10 a month, you get 3 posters of me. Ah! It's just like, you gotta slow down a little bit. Because also you have to figure out the cost of what you're doing. I go through MPICs for my prints, and they're not exactly cheap. Like, they're cheap, but they're not cheap. And, you know, they're really high quality. I like to pay for that little bit of extra quality there. So you really gotta do some research on that if prints are something that you want to give out. But I think most people on Patreon don't even care about prints. It's all about the digital content. Digital content always trumps physical content. And I'm just gonna tell you that right now. They're already on their computers, they're already on their phones. They wanna see stuff now. So you can provide behind the scenes stuff, you can provide content before anybody else gets to see it. What do you do? Do you have a kind of skill that you could teach people through your Patreon? There's so many things that you could offer and that people are going to love to pledge for. I also get asked, and I get asked this a lot, and this is kind of cool, I get asked if one of the rewards should be, oh, I donate a percentage to a charity. To me, I don't feel like this is the best idea, because technically you are the charity. They're giving you money because they want you to create more content. They want you to work your butt off. With charity, I think it's best if you do that on your own. You can definitely post about it, you can tell people about it, and I do encourage that. I know some people are like, well, you should just do good and not tell anyone about it, but it is kind of nice to kind of say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm a responsible person and I'm kind, and this is what I put out into the world. Also, it's really good karma. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about adding a charity reward of some kind, that they're coming to give money to you because they want to see you succeed, and you can do the charity work on your own. That is something extra that probably has nothing to do with Patreon. So that's my thoughts on it. You might think differently, but that's what's worked for me. You can also look at what your fans actually asked for. My fans have always asked for prints along with so many other things, so that was a big thing that I wanted to provide for them, so it could kind of be like a little bit of a print shop as well as a crowdfunding thing, so people can actually get physical prints of me that I signed, and it's really cool and people love it. So think about what fans have asked you for. Have they asked you for advice? Have they asked to see you face to face via a Skype call, something like that? Think about that. And then the fifth question is, how do I get patrons? If you have a fan base, they kind of just come to you. So basically what I did was I reached out to my followers and I said, hey, I'm starting a new project. Does anyone want to help me out for $1? Because at this point my Patreon was not live yet. I had been working on it for about a month, tweaking it, making sure it was perfect. And at this point I wanted to show a select few people who really, really wanted to be a part of it, just to see if everything was going to run smoothly. And I had a lot of response to that. So that's a good tip. If you have a kind of a big fan base, work on your Patreon, then ask if they want to help you out for $1 or more. But you have to make sure people know that you have it. Don't flood their feeds with join my Patreon, join my Patreon, join my Patreon, because that's really kind of annoying and it seems kind of beggy. So what you should do is maybe once a month mention it on each of your social medias and just kind of let people know. Because I still, to this day, after 2 years of being on Patreon, I have people who have followed me for a long time on YouTube and such who are like, I didn't know you had a Patreon. So to get those fans, you have to let them know. So fill them in a little bit. Don't beg, because that's not cool, but fill them in, let them know. Especially on each social media, because not everybody follows you on Facebook, not everybody follows you on Twitter. Some of them are only on a certain social media, so you want to make sure they see that. Last but not least, Patreon is a fun place, and you want to be positive with it. Sometimes I see people who are like, I'm sick of creating free content. I need to be paid for it. I need to be paid for this, and my patrons aren't giving me enough money. They need to hurry up and give me some more so I can do more. They don't understand. You need to hold the F on, because that is so not cool. Patrons are like the best freaking people in the world, for one. They're giving you not only their love and attention, but they're opening up their wallets to you. That is amazing, and I for one feel very blessed for all of my patrons over the years. It's just incredible to me. So for someone to speak about their patrons like that kind of upsets me. So keep your stuff positive. Don't be beggy. Don't be weird about it. Oh, I have to pay for blah blah blah. How am I going to do that if I'm only making so much on Patreon? This is an extra thing for you right now. If you're just starting out, I'm sure you still have like another job or whatever. I only just started working a lot less, I think about a year ago. And that was a big part because of Patreon. But that was never anything that I thought was going to happen. And I was very grateful that I could do that. So be grateful, be positive, make it fun. Because this is fun. This is your passion and this is what you love to do. And it is very fun, or else you would not be doing it. So keep that in mind. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any other questions or advice that you want to leave in the comments, you go right ahead and you do that. I love you so much, you guys. Peace.